Welcome everyone. This is part 4, A Life of Pi written by John Mortal. Come to the text. God preserve me. No supplication was ever more passionate yet more gently carried by the breath. He became very afraid. Just he prayed to God to save him because he was just very close to the Richard Parker. I lay absolutely motionless. I had to have water. So on the tarpaulin, so he was still. There was no movement at all because he had to get water to drink. I brought my hand down and quickly undid the hasp. Just he brought his hand down, he noticed a hasp. Hasp means that is a lock. He just undid. Undid means I opened the lock. I pulled on the lid. It opened onto a locker. I looked down between my legs. I thought I would faint for joy. Then suddenly he opened the locker and he noticed what he wanted in the lifeboat. So he became very fainted for joy. The open locker glistened with shiny new things. Oh, the delight of the manufactured good, the man made device, the created things. Then he noticed a glistened things. It was manufactured by the human being, man made device, a created things inside the lifeboat. That moment of material revelation brought on intensity of pleasure. He felt very great. So he experienced a great pleasure that time. They had a mix of hope, surprise, disbelief, thrill, gratitude, all crushed into one. Then all his mind, the mixed with all kind of emotions like hope, surprise, disbelief, thrill, gratitude, because he found the water in the lifeboat. Unequaled in my life, any Christmas, birthday, wedding, Diwali, or other gift giving occasion. So he felt the time was very special, that was not equal to all the celebration of Christmas, birthday, wedding, Diwali, or gift giving occasion. I was positively giddy with happiness. So due to overjoy, I felt very fainted. Now let's move on to the next paragraph. My eyes immediately fell upon what I was looking for. Suddenly his eyes caught what he was looking for, searching for in the lifeboat. Whether in a bottle, a tin can, or a carton means that is a container. The water is unmistakably packaged. Then at last he found a packaged water in the lifeboat. On this lifeboat, the wine of life was served in a golden cans that fit nicely in the hand. Then he felt that the water in the lifeboat is like a wine. It was served in the golden can. That means the can, tin. The drinking water, that said the vintage label in the block letter, so which was printed on the can, drinking water. So he was so happy to have that. So HP Food Limited were the witness. Witness means the purchase or those who produce the wine. So 500 ml were the contents. The each can contains a 500 ml of water. So there was stack of these cans, too many to count at a glance. So there were number of cans. So it was not easy to count at a sight. At last he found a water can in the lifeboat. So he became very overjoyed. With a shaking hand, I reached down and picked one up. So then he just picked one can from the lifeboat. It was cool to touch and heavy. The can was so cool and also so heavy to lift. I shook it because it was a 500 ml can, so it was heavy to lift. Then I shook it. Just he gave a small shake. The bubble of air inside made a dull glub 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 sound. So while shaking the drinking water, we can hear the sound, gulping sound, the same sound the boy heard from the can. I was about to deliver from my hellish thirst. He felt overjoyed, and also the felt that he was relieved from his thirst. Look at the word hellish. That means the hurting thirst. My pulse raced at the thought. I only had to open the can. I paused. How would I do that? So suddenly he need to open the can, but he didn't know what to do. Then how to open the can? I had a can. Surely I had a can opener. So he had a can. So he believed there would be a opener in the lifeboat. I looked in the locker. So there was a great quantity of things. I rummaged about it. Then he searched everywhere in the locker. So a lot of things were there, but he could not find the opener. I was losing patience. He could not control himself. The aching expectation had run its fruitful course. I had to drink now, or I would die. So suddenly he needed a water, otherwise he would die. I could not find the desired instrument. So he searched everywhere in the lifeboat, but he could not find the opener in the lifeboat. But there was no time for useless distress. He did not want to spend the time on searching the instrument. Action was needed, so he had to do something to open the can and drink the water. It is necessary that time. Could I press it open with my fingernail? I tried. Just he pressed means here pulled with his fingernail in the can, but he could not open it. My teeth, again he tried with his teeth. It wasn't worth trying. Again he could not open it. I looked over the gunnel. The gunnel means the place where the fish can be stabbed while fishing. The tarpaulin hook is short, blunt, solid. So then he noticed a tarpaulin hook on the gunnel. It was so short, blunt, but it was very strong. I kneeled on the bench and leaned over, holding the can. With both my hands, I sharply brought it up against the hook. Then he decided to hit the can into the hook. So it easily opened the can to drink water. A good dint. At last he gave a good dint. Dint means a hit. So he hit the can in the blunt part of the hook. So I did it again. So another dint next to the first. By dint of dinting, again and again he hit the can into the hook. So I managed the trick. A pearl of water appeared. At last the can opened. Then he found the pearls of water. I licked it off. Then he tasted the water. I turned the can and banged the opposite side of the top against the hook to make another hole. And again he turned the can to make another hole on the opposite side. I walked like a fiend. At last he worked as a fiend. Fiend means here devil because of the thirst. The thirst made him work like a devil. So I made a larger hole. I sat back on the gunnel. I held the can up to my face. I opened my mouth and tilted the can. Tilted means move. At last he drank a can of water. Now, my feelings can perhaps be imagined, but they can hardly be described. He felt overjoyed. His feeling could not be described, so only he could feel the emotions. To the gurgling, the beat of my greedy throat. Gurgling means the sound of drinking water. The pure, delicious, beautiful, crystalline water flowed into my system. You just described the water as a pure, delicious, the beautiful, crystalline water in the middle of the salty water. It was flowed into his system, that's mean into his body. So he described it as a liquid life. It was the liquid life. It was. I drained that golden cup up to every last drop, sucking at the hole to catch any remaining moisture. So he completely emptied a first can of water. That's me 500 ml. I went, so I felt very relaxed. They tossed the can overboard and got another one. Again he took another can, he opened and he drank it. I opened it where I had the first and its content vanished just as quickly. The second can of water was vanished very quickly. That means he drank it very quickly. That can sailed overboard too. Again he tossed the can into the overboard. And I opened the next one. It was the third one, which shortly also ended up in the ocean. The another can was dispatched. It was the last fourth one. I drank 4 cans, the 2 liters of moist executive of nectars before I stopped. You might think such a rapid intake of water after prolonged thirst might upset my system. So he told that the 2 liters of water was so nectar. Nectar means very sweet to drink. And other may think so after the long thirst, the taking too much of water would upset his system. System is a body. So nonsense. I never felt better in my life. The people thought that the drinking too much of water after a long thirst, it would upset his body, but he said it is a nonsense because he felt that was the better moment in his life. So why feel my bro? My forehead was wet with fresh, clean, refreshing perspiration. Perspiration means the give out sweat. Everything in me, right down to the pores of my skin, was expressing joy. So after taking the pure water, the drinking water, so all his body started sweating. And he says all parts of the body expressing is the joy in the way of sweating. A sense of well-being quickly overcame me. Then after drinking water, he felt better. My mouth became moist and soft. So before that, his mouth was very dry. So I forgot about the back of my throat. So just forgot his thirst. My skin relaxed. After drinking water, all the body started sweating and also skin felt very relaxed one. My joints moved with greater ease. So now he could move his joint with greater ease because so before due to dehydration it was so hard to move. My heart began to beat like a merry drum and blood started flowing through my veins like a chorus from wedding party honking their ways through town. It just blood, the heart so began to beat like a merry drum and also the blood moves through the veins like a course, so moving the wedding party. The strength and the suppleness came back to my muscles. So again he felt the strength of his muscles. My head became clearer. So now you had a clear mind to think. That truly I was coming back to life from death. So really he felt that the water saved him from death. It was glorious. So it was a very glorious moment to him. I tell you to be drunk on alcohol is a disgraceful. So drinking alcohol is not good, is a disgraceful act. But to be drunk on water is a noble and ecstatic basked in a bliss and plenitude for several minutes. But drinking water was a noble and a joy, and he felt that moment for several minutes. I had water ration to last me 124 days. Never had simple arithmetic brought such a smile to my face. Then he calculated the supplies would be used for next 124 days. So that brought a big smile on his face. It was Richard Parker who calmed me down. So because of Richard Parker, so he was alive. It is the irony of the story that the one who scared me witless, so to start with, was very every same who brought me peace, purpose, I dare say even wholeness. So there was a great irony was discussed here because the tiger one who scared in the beginning, so that brought him peace and purpose and he made understand the wholeness of life. I had to tame him. The tame means make a domesticated one or make friend. Pai wanted to make Richard Parker as his friend or make a domesticated one. It was at that moment that I realized this necessity. So it was very necessary for both. It was not a question of him or me, but of him and me. It's very necessary to tame him. So we were literally and figuratively in the same boat. We would live together or we would die together. He might be killed in an accident or he could die shortly of the natural causes, but it would be foolish to count on such an eventuality. So both they were in the lifeboat. So whether they would live together or die together. He might be killed in an accident. The Richard Parker might be killed in an unexpected accident or it would die shortly in the natural disaster. But expecting death was a foolish one. So more likely the worst would happen. The worst thing could happen more than this. The simple passage of time in which his animal toughness would easily outlast my human frailty. But he feared that the power of that the mighty of Richard Parker would destroy the human frailty. So before the Richard Parker, the human strength was nothing. Only if I tamed him could I possibly trick him into dying first, if we had to come to the story sorry business. So just he had to tame the tiger. So because he could possibly trick him to dying first if they had a very critical situation. At this point, Sapai behaved a very selfish person because he wanted to the Richard Parker die first. But there's more to it. I will come clean. So I will tell you a secret. A part of me was glad about Richard Parker. Then he revealed a secret that he was very glad about the Richard Parker. So because of the Richard Parker's, he was alive then. A part of me did not want Richard Parker to die at all, because if he died, I would be left alone with the despair. So he did not want Richard Parker to die. So because if he died, so Pi would be left alone in the middle of the water with the despair. Despair means the lose of hope. A foe even more formidable than a tiger. The foe means your enemy. So even more formidable than a tiger. The formidable means the powerful than the tiger. If I still had the will to live, it was thanks to Richard Parker. And he believed that he got the willpower to live. So all because of the presence of Richard Parker in the lifeboat. He kept me from thinking too much about my family and my tragic circumstances. So due to the presence of Richard Parker, he just avoided thinking of family, and also the bad and tragic circumstances which he faced in the middle of ocean. He pushed me to go on living. The only the presence of tiger in the lifeboat so made him live alive. I hate him for it, yet at the same time I was grateful. I am grateful. It is the plain truth. Without Richard Parker, I wouldn't be alive today to tell you my story. So at last he said he was so grateful to the Richard Parker. So because of the Richard Parker, he was alive to tell the story. I left Richard Parker in the jungle and waited for a sheep. It pained me to see the animals without even turning his head to have a last glimpse. So really he worried about the Richard Parker because Richard Parker did not turn and noticed him. A sheep did find me and I am now reunited with my family. At last, the pie was saved by a sheep and he joined with his family members. That was the end of the story.
By the time we reached the Mexican shore, I was afraid to let go of the boat. My strength was gone. I was so weak. I was afraid that in 2 feet of water, so close to deliverance, I would drown. I struggled to shore and fell upon the sand. Eyes were smiling at having me there. I was so spent, I could hardly move. And so Richard Parker went ahead of me. He stretched his legs and walked along the shore. At the edge of the jungle, he stopped. I was certain he was going to look back at me, flatten his ears to his head, growl, that he would bring our relationship to an end in some way. But he just stared ahead.